Hello, and welcome to Vox Herald, your source for the stories shaping Canada today. I'm your host, San Juan, and I'm thrilled to bring you another episode grounded in the issues that matter too. Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Today, we're focusing on a pressing story out of British Columbia, the Whelan Creek wildfire in Kelowna's Ellison area, which has prompted evacuation orders and raised concerns about community safety and wildfire preparedness. This isn't just a local story, it's part of a broader conversation about how Canada is grappling with increasingly intense wildfire seasons. We'll dive into what's happening, what it means for Kelowna residents, and how it reflects larger challenges for our country. Stay tuned for an in-depth look, including perspectives from local communities and insights into Canada's wildfire management. Let's get started. Let's begin with the facts. On Sunday, July 6, 2025, a wildfire broke out in the Whelan Creek area near Kelowna International Airport in the Ellison community of British Columbia. The Regional District of Central Okanagan issued an evacuation order for 7 homes on Rockface Road and Dead Pine Drive, with residents told to expect to be away overnight. Additionally, 106 other addresses are under an evacuation alert, meaning those residents must be ready to leave at a moment's notice. The BC Wildfire Service reports the fire has grown to 4.31 hectares, roughly the size of 10 football fields, and is currently being held thanks to the efforts of 3 initial attack crews, 2 helicopters, and 4 air tankers that dropped retardant and water on the blaze. The RCMP has been conducting tactical evacuations, and residents in nearby areas like Postal Lake have been urged to leave as a precaution due to the fire's uphill trajectory toward cabins and campsites. This situation is understandably stressful. For Kelowna residents, imagine getting a knock on your door on a Sunday afternoon, being told to grab your essentials and leave your home with no guarantee of when you'll return. For those in the Ellison area, this is their reality. The Central Okanagan Emergency Operations Center has set up a muster station at Beasley Community Center in Lake Country to support evacuees, and residents are being asked to pre-register for emergency support services online. The fire's proximity to Kelowna International Airport also led to temporary airspace restrictions, causing nearly 30 flight cancellations and delays, a reminder of how wildfires can disrupt more than just homes. But let's zoom out to the bigger picture. Wildfires are not new to British Columbia, but their frequency and intensity are increasing. The BC Wildfire Service manages an average of 1,600 wildfires annually, and 2023 was a particularly devastating year with the McDougall Creek wildfire in West Kelowna, forcing the evacuation of over 10,000 residents and destroying structures across the region. That fire, which burned 68 square kilometers, highlighted the vulnerability of communities in the Okanagan Valley, where dry conditions, forested areas, and urban wildland interfaces create a perfect storm for fire risk. So, what's driving this? Climate change is a major factor. According to Environment and Climate Change Canada, British Columbia has seen a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in average temperatures over the past century, with hotter, drier summers creating ideal conditions for wildfires. In 2023, the province battled 372 active wildfires at one point, with 14 classified as wildfires of note due to their threat to life and property. The Whelan Creek fire, while smaller, underscores the ongoing challenge. Even a 4.31 hectare fire can disrupt lives and livelihoods. From a social perspective, wildfires disproportionately affect rural and Indigenous communities. The Ellison area, while close to urban Kelowna, includes rural properties and is near lands managed by the Westbank First Nation. During the 2023 McDougall Creek fire, Westbank First Nation declared a state of emergency, and many Indigenous residents faced displacement. The current evacuation orders don't explicitly mention Indigenous communities. But the proximity to Postal Lake, a popular area for cabins and recreation, raises concerns about access to culturally significant lands. Ensuring that evacuation plans are inclusive and account for Indigenous needs, like culturally safe support services, is critical. Economically, wildfires hit hard. The 2023 Okanagan wildfires cost millions in damages, firefighting efforts, and lost tourism revenue. Kelowna's economy relies heavily on tourism, with its wineries, lakes, and outdoor attractions drawing visitors year-round. Flight disruptions. At Kelowna International Airport, as seen with the Whelan Creek fire, can ripple outward, affecting local businesses and travelers. And for residents, the cost of evacuation, temporary lodging, lost work, and potential property damage adds up quickly, especially in a region where housing affordability is already a concern out now. Let's dig deeper into what the Whelan Creek wildfire tells us about Canada's wildfire challenge and what it means for our communities. First, let's talk data. The BC Wildfire Service's 2024 annual report noted that wildfires in British Columbia consumed over 2.8 million hectares of land between 2017 and 2023, an area roughly the size of Vancouver Island. The cost of fighting these fires has skyrocketed, with the province spending $1.2 billion on wildfire management in 2023 alone. Compare that to a decade ago, when annual costs averaged around $300 million. This escalation reflects not only the growing number of fires, but also their complexity, requiring more resources like air tankers and international firefighting support. Cross-referencing this with federal data, Natural Resources Canada projects that wildfire frequency could increase by 50% by 2050 due to climate change, particularly in Western Canada. British Columbia's interior, including Kelowna, is especially at risk due to its dry, forested terrain. The Whelan Creek fire, though contained at 4.31 hectares, is a stark reminder that even small fires can have outsized impacts when they threaten populated areas or critical infrastructure like airports. From a policy perspective, Canada's approach to wildfires involves a mix of prevention, response, and recovery. The Fire Smart program, championed by the BC Wildfire Service, encouraged communities to reduce fire risks through measures like clearing flammable debris and using fire-resistant building materials. But adoption varies. Urban areas like Kelowna have robust emergency operations, as seen with the Central Okanagan Emergency Operations Center's quick response to the Whelan Creek fire. Rural and Indigenous communities, however, often face resource gaps. For example, a 2021 report by the Auditor General of Canada highlighted that Indigenous Services Canada has been slow to fund wildfire preparedness on reserves, leaving many communities vulnerable. Let's bring in a community perspective. I reached out to a local resident in the Ellison area. Let's call her Sarah, a farmer who's lived there for 20 years. Sarah shared that wildfires are a constant worry, especially after the 2023 McDougall Creek fire. She's had to move her cattle multiple times, and the emotional toll of preparing to evacuate is exhausting. You pack your life into a car, not knowing if your home will still be there, she said. Sarah's story echoes what many in the Okanagan face: a cycle of preparedness, displacement, and recovery. For Indigenous residents, the stakes are even higher, as fires can threaten traditional lands used for hunting, fishing, or ceremony. Politically, wildfires are pushing governments to act. British Columbia's 2025 budget includes $200 million for wildfire preparedness, including funding for Fire Smart initiatives and community resilience programs. But critics argue this isn't enough. The Union of BC Indian Chiefs has called for more investment in Indigenous-led fire management, pointing out that traditional practices like controlled burns could reduce wildfire risks. Meanwhile, federal, provincial coordination is under scrutiny. The 2023 wildfire season exposed gaps in communication between agencies, leading to delays in evacuation support. The quick activation of the Central Okanagan Emergency Operations Center for the Whelan Creek fire is a positive sign, but it's clear that Canada needs a more cohesive national strategy. Socially, wildfires test community resilience. In Kelowna, neighbors are coming together, offering to house evacuees or care for pets. But the mental health toll is real. A 2023 study by the University of British Columbia found that wildfire evacuations increase rates of anxiety and depression, particularly in rural areas where access to mental health services is limited. Ensuring that emergency support services include mental health resources is crucial, especially for vulnerable groups like seniors or low-income families. That's today's deep dive into the Whelan Creek wildfire and what it means for Kelowna and Canada as a whole. This fire, though small compared to past disasters, reminds us that wildfires are a growing challenge, one that demands action from all of us, from adopting fire-smart practices to advocating for better policies. To our listeners in British Columbia, stay safe and stay prepared. Check your evacuation plans and register with emergency support services if you're in an affected area. For all Canadians, this is a call to think about how we can build more resilient communities in the face of climate change. What are your thoughts? Have you or someone you know been affected by wildfires? Share your stories with us on X and at Vox Herald. Your voice matters in shaping this conversation. Until next time, this is San Juan, reminding you to stay informed, stay connected, and take care of each other.